I served an apprenticeship under the original Swiss watchmaker, clockmaker.
Right.
And then I learned hands-on experience from my father, who was a German watchmaker, clockmaker. I was very interested in the clock repair aspect of it, so we did that as part of our, the main thrust of our business, and then the jewelry store, of course, is all part of that. But and then when we really started selling a lot of grandfather clocks, people would come in and say, I don't need to buy one, but I have one at home that hasn't run for, years.
Well, because a lot of people just keep them because they're beautiful, and then it just becomes
a piece of furniture. Exactly. So I started aggressively going out and, getting a reputation for doing this in-house work on the grandfather clocks.
Now, was that right away, pretty much? Or
I don't remember exactly how that transformed, but I do remember
slow, organic.
Exactly. It was one of those things where you kind of grew because word of mouth, my neighbor said you were pretty good at this, and that kind of stuff. Or another customer says something, or, of course, advertising. And then, we're an authorized service center for all the lines that we carry, so...
so that plays right into that.
Too.
Right.
Like Howard Miller is our major line, and the factory, if somebody called the factory said they had a Howard Miller clock that wasn't running, they would give them our number, and then I could come out and service it for them. We'd sell, 50 grandfather clocks in a Christmas season.
Wow.
Which,
well, these are these are
and we deliver them all ourselves, and we set them all up ourselves, and we warranty them. So, there's and now those clocks now, 20, 30 years later.
Now it's an heirloom.
They're heirlooms, but they're also needing
service. Right.
Not only do you service what you sell, but the antique clocks from 100 years ago are coming through the door on a regular basis because that's something that somebody may have gotten from their grandfather, and they want to keep it going, or some sort of a family heirloom.
Sure.
So those kind of things are a big part of what we do. Normally, the parts are not broken unless somebody's been in there, tinkering around in there. They really didn't know what they were doing. So usually it's wear on them. You have to go through and polish pivots and replace bushings, and they need to be cleaned. They physically get greasy and gummy and dirty. And once they're cleaned and
is that maybe like step one for you, like as far as, because these things are so old.
You have to go through. You have to kind of assess what's wrong with it, and then
step by step,
the customer wants to know what they're looking at cost wise, and then when we pull them all apart, we clean them, we completely disassemble the mechanism, and then we
with no schematic, of course. No schematic. Yeah, it's just all in your head. Because you understand the mechanics. And
we repair thousands of clocks a year,
so you know what you're looking at.
It becomes second nature.
Right.
And then we check each individual gear, we polish all the pivots, we replace any worn bushings, put it all back together, set it all up so the timing is right on it, and then lubricate it and test it, regulate it, then it goes back in the case and final regulation. And
now, what's the maintenance on? So let's say that somebody comes out and they have a service done and they get the clock running. Is it an annual?
No, usually 3 to 5 years, depending on what we did.
Right, and now the gears, is it something where they're really not supposed to slip per se? I don't know what the technical term would be, but it's going to happen.
They mesh with each other, and basically,
once it's
even though they get worn, there's loss of power usually, so they just stall. See. It's not so much like gears whizzing around in there and flying out of it.
Or parts.
I don't have an exact number, but I do over 500 service calls a year just on the grandfather clocks, and you have to be able to get in there, troubleshoot it, diagnose what's going on with it, and then do the repair work on it and move on to the next one.
Sure.
So,
is that hard?
And you want to make sure you got everything right because you don't want callbacks.
Exactly. The worst for any service call, right?
No customer wants to call you and say, hey, it's not working right, can you come back? I don't want to go back.
Sure.
I want to make sure it's done right the first time.
Right.
And that way, we go in, we do it right the first time, and then, we remind you in 3 years that your clock is due for service again. So that's the kind of thing that people forget about too. Like,
because it's such a long window, right. And people are kind of lazy with that too. They're like, it's working fine.
Right. And that's really the one big thing you have to educate customers on is, I kind of use the analogy that, your car needs an oil change periodically, even though it's still working good.
Right.
But you don't just run it for 50,000 miles and never change the oil because you'll wear it all out. And clocks are the same way.
Right.
They need regular
service. Because if it's not greased and lubed, you're going to have extra wear and tear other than the normal.
And then that means more work, which
stuff. And then you got some modern clocks as well in here too.
We try to keep a selection.
You always have like a steam. There's like a steampunk clock over there. That was pretty awesome.
There's something for everybody, really, is what it is with the clocks. You need to. I mean, sometimes people want to have a gift for a boss, maybe, so you can put a plaque on it for a presentation, or somebody's looking for a gift for a wedding gift, maybe.
Sure.
You know, not everybody's looking for a grandfather clock.
Exactly.
You know, some people say, I just don't have the room for it.
Well, it's a major investment as well.
Well, that too, and so they'll buy a nice wall clock or a nice mantle clock.
Right.
Instead of, because they want the sound. You know, it's not quite the same sound, but it's the sound of.
Well, and it's funny because you have, this is like walking, I'm sure everybody will have this experience, but I could walk through my relatives' homes here. You know, and my grandmother on my dad's side had that. My grandmother on my mom's side had that.
Being able to service what we sell and service whatever comes through the front door.
Right.
Not just what we sell, but we definitely try to make sure that anything we sell, we can certainly service.
And it's the same skill set to a degree, right?
It
Working
is.
on jewelry and clocks, and I mean, and then now your tooling systems and everything. You have everything in house here. Nothing gets sent out.
Nope.
You're doing it, and you have people that are very highly skilled, right?
That's what we do here, and we have third and fourth generation customers coming in that tell me, you know, my grandparents bought their engagement rings here, my parents, and so forth. And again, the repair aspect of it, in the jewelry repair aspect of it, is another thing where, you know, you don't just leave your diamond ring with anybody. You want to make sure that the person you're leaving it with is reliable and trustworthy. And,
Did I tell you the story about my ex?
You know, and not only are we servicing clocks and watches in the Western New York area.
Right.
Our website, you know, the Antique Clock Doctor, we get nearly every day emails from people from all over the United States that inquire about the services that we offer to find out how we can get their timepieces, you know, up and running again.
Yeah. Now,
so they're sending us clocks from all over the country.
I was just going to say, but even grandfathers, you have
no, not grandfather clocks, but you know, wall, mantle. Right. Those kind of clocks, because those are items that can be shipped safely.
I see. Now, how far would you go for a grandfather clock? I mean,
all over Western New York. Yeah. I mean, we're any place that's within about an hour travel.
Yeah, a day's drive to fix.
Travel, I would go out and do it. Okay. We make people happy all day long. Yep. I mean, they come in with broken things and they leave here with them working and they're excited about it. Especially
it's a big
something
deal.
that hasn't run for a long time. Sure. The other thing too is we educate them. Right. So you don't just pick up a clock that we've repaired and walk out the door. We explain to you how to use it, what to do, what not to do. How to keep it running correctly. How to keep it running, because there's nothing more frustrating than having something repaired and due to lack of knowledge, damaging it. Right. So we try to arm everybody with as much information as we can when they have a repair done here. Plus we give them something on paper too. Sure. Kind of has the do's and don'ts.
Oh, that's right. So don't touch this. Right. You should put like big red stickers.
Touch-ups, a lot of that kind of stuff. So we can put a case back together. A lot of broken cases come in. Really? We can glue up the parts and put them back together so you don't even know they're broken.
That's fantastic.
I mean, complete refinishes. We don't do that often because most people don't want that. Right. Well, and it's no different. You want that originality. Yeah, you want the patina
to a degree. You just want it to be functional and not to be cracked or whatnot. So you do that. I didn't know that actually that you did the exteriors as well. That was why I asked.
When somebody passes away and they go in and clean out the house and it's been in the family for 100 years. And they'll pull these clocks out and they'll bring them in and they're like, I don't know what you can do with this, but it'd be great if you could get it running again. And
it's the defeatist thing. That's what I'm saying, right?
I look at it as just, that's another job that I'm very familiar with.
Right.
Yeah, we can make this work.
I got this. But you're thinking, see, that's what I mean. From my standpoint, I would be like, hey, because you just did that look. When somebody brings it in and they're like, you're probably not going to be able to fix this.
I mean, they literally bring them in baskets. We get basket cases. I took this apart when I was a kid.
It's been sitting in my attic for,
can you save it? And we look at it and
Sure, I'll put it back together. That's awesome.
When you shop for something like this, you need to know that there's some place that can repair it, and that's what gives us the edge on that kind of thing.
And it's about the trust. Have we covered?
Plus, we also everything is discounted. We're competitive. Right. I mean, you come in here, you're not going to say, I went to that jewelry store. They're so overpriced. Sure. We're not. We're competitive, and we offer discount prices on everything.
I see that time. For over 90 years, Walker Brothers and Monroe Jewelers has been a fixture in the heart of Webster Street in North Tonawanda. From a tasteful selection of jewelry to clocks, watches, grandfather, Kit Kat, and cuckoo clock sales, service, and repair. Walker Brothers and Monroe Jewelers is also the home to the Antique Clock Doctor, which repairs and restores fine 18th, 19th, and 20th century clocks. Whether you have an antique clock with sentimental value, or have purchased an old timepiece with the intent to pass it down, the Antique Clock Doctor has the ability to restore your treasured heirloom to its original splendor.